Hello there, and many thanks for joining us again on the program People, Politics and Power. I am Imonia Marere. Ahead of the 2027 political contest, which, by the way, is still 2 years away, there is or has been a great deal of concern about the state of the political parties and the way politicians are conducting themselves in public spaces. The last couple of days have seen some prominent political figures throw caution to the winds by their disorderly behavior in the full glare of television cameras or throwing allegations around and issuing threats of impending political Armageddon, ostensibly in a bid to attract some attention or denigrate their opponents. The violence that disrupted the Board of Trustees meeting of the main opposition party, the PDP, last week is symptomatic of the fractures in several opposition parties. This may have given rise to claims that the ruling party, the All Progressive Congress, is stoking the fires that are burning in the opposition camps. Indeed, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar alluded to this at a national conference on strengthening democracy in Abuja last week, where he alleged without evidence that the APC-led government had doled out bribes of up to 50 million naira each to leaders of opposition political parties to weaken them and undermine the democratic process ahead of the 2027 elections. The defeated PDP presidential candidate in the 2023 elections, alongside his Labour Party candidate Peter Obi and former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, also claimed that the ruling APC is sponsoring the crisis rocking the various opposition parties. Now, while the APC has described the allegations as flippant, bogus, laughable alarmist rhetoric and petty politicking by desperate politicians, other opposition political parties have denied the allegations as demeaning and reckless and have challenged the prominent politicians to provide concrete evidence to substantiate their claims. Now, it appears the road to 2027 will be rough, littered with all such allegations, claims, and brickbats. This is the meat of our attention on the program today. Why is it difficult for political actors to display some level of decorum, civility, and decency in plying their trade? Why are the political parties unable to wean themselves off the selfish interests and influences of some of their members and act independently according to the dictates of their various constitutions? Is there any truth to the allegation of bribe giving and taking by leaders of the political parties? Do Nigerian politicians, I quote, steal, maim, and kill to retain power, as claimed by former Transport Minister Rotimi Amechi at the same conference? Is this the stuff Nigerian politicians are made of? Join us in a moment. We will get to meet our guest analysts who are right here in the studio, and one other is joining us virtually, and we'll be talking about the conduct of politicians ahead of 2027. Stay with us.
The Nigeria we need is the united, indissoluble, and cohesive Nigeria, which guarantees equity, fairness, justice, and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics, and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics, and power on AIT.
Let's get to meet our guest analysts who are right here in the studio. Mr. Bala Ibrahim is the Director of Publicity of the All Progressives Congress, the ruling party in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim, for finding time to join us.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Great. Your first time on this program, I believe.
Yeah, on this program, my first time, but not in the studio.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Also joining us is Mr. Kennedy Ahanotu. He's the National Youth Leader and former Deputy National Secretary of the Labour Party. Thank you so much, Mr.
Uncle Imoni, good afternoon. You're always looking young.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Great. All right. Also joining us virtually from Lagos is Mr. Johnson Oladipo. Mr. Oladipo is the National Publicity Secretary of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. Thank you so much, Mr. Oladipo, for finding time to join us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Right. So let's begin with you. The conduct of politicians. Almost 2.5 years away from the next general election. What are your thoughts about how politicians have been conducting themselves at every level?
Well, I must say that the incident during the meeting, I think, was it the meeting, the PDP meeting last week, was very unfortunate. But to be fair, I think that over the years, we've seen an improvement in the way some of the politicians have conducted themselves. Yes, unfortunately, we saw like the Rivers issue with the State House of Assembly, the governor, and what have you. So you have all those still appearing now and again when there's infighting, not just in the political parties, but within government, houses of assembly and what have you. So that happens all around the world. That doesn't excuse it. But I think that by and large, we have an improved situation in Nigeria. Unfortunately, the incident last week, as I said, at the People's Democratic Party reminded us of things that ought not to be.
All right, Mr. Oladipo, we'll come back to you very shortly, but we need you to please compose your shot much better, put it on landscape so that we can see a little bit more of you than just your face, and we'll come back to you.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk here to Mr. You are of the Labour Party. The conduct of politicians and the political parties themselves since after the 2023 elections, would you describe it as Mr. Oladipo would say, as satisfactory, as improved? Is there any improvement from what it was previously and what it is now?
Well, thank you, Uncle Imoni. For me, from the Labour Party, I don't think there is any change. Growing up as a child, always hearing that youths are the future leaders of the country, and continuously seeing the same face in the system, continuously seeing the same actors, always ganging together to pursue the person in government. I think it has been the same thing. There is no change. Since after the 2023 general election, of course, we saw a total departure in terms of voting and participation of young people in the last election. But then, the intrigues, the politicking of trying to pursue personal interests ahead of institutional development, ahead of organizational development has been playing out. For example, what happened in the conference you are referring to is such unfortunate. In fact, I can't imagine somebody like His Excellency, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, who has been a vice president in this country, coming out to make such an open statement. Labour Party have never received, we are not interested in receiving any amount of money from the APC. In fact, our interest since Labour Party was formed is to pursue government of the people for the people that will implement life-changing policies. 50 million is too small for a political party to receive and begin to dance naked on the marketplace. So for me, in fact, this happened in 2014, when Amechi and El-Rufai and all of them gang up together to remove a sitting president. All of us clap for them. In 2023, all of them are behind currently, and they are ganging up together again without any visible and practical template of changing the life of Nigerians, but it is still the same thing of taking over political power. For example, APC, since formation, have not been able to deepen what democracy is all about, even though they came with a mantra initially, change. And that change came with a lot of suffering in the life of Nigerians, a lot of killings. A lot of Nigerians are crying, in fact, with that government. That change came, they said upgraded change. Now, there is a mandate that people are standing on, and fuel prices are increasing, salary of workers are stable at the same point. People...
Ironically, all the presidential candidates in 2023 did say they were going to remove fuel subsidy.
Accepted.
So it's not as if the current president has done anything different from what he promised.
Accepted on Kulimoni, but beyond that, in terms of saying I will remove, without understanding the principles, studying the terrain, and knowing the first thing first, you have to cushion the effect of your expected, because you know that that action will have an expected effect, telling effect on Nigerians. You are supposed to take time, push out these palliatives the way they are doing it, try to control the system before you now do it. So all of them said they will remove it, but then implementation was what differs. So
the modus operandi.
Modus operandi. So what has been happening in Nigeria is that we lack political discipline, that Atiku will feel he is the one. The moment they are not singing Atiku's song, the political party have collected bribe. That is the kind of leaders we have in Nigeria. The moment they are not singing Erufai's song, that is the end of the party. The party have collected bribe. You know, this government have not carried Erufai along. So he's crying around and trying to form another alliance. He was governor. I'm worried, Uncle Imoni, that people will be in government, instead of them to make governance work for the people, they will leave it when they finish their governance. He finished 8 years as a governor. What are the tangible evidence of his governance in Kaduna State? And now he's coming to conspire and come together to fight a government. You see? And they are saying things that the Labour Party has been hijacked. Who hijacked the Labour Party? Did we call him that we are having issue in Labour Party? So I can imagine that from those kind of leaders. And I believe that if we want to resolve some of these things, it's time that we begin to institutionalize political parties. It's time we begin to consider building the institution called political party. It used to be very decent before, until our uncle Obasanjo came and went to eat pounded yam with Audu Ogbe, and after eating pounded yam, he gave him resignation letter. Before now, where democracies are working, you see political parties coming out with their manifestos. But what we run today is manifesto of individuals. So if I like, for example, working with women, my manifesto will be that every minister in my government will be women. If I like working with men, my manifesto will be every person in my government will be. Instead of running the principles, the philosophies, the objectives, the manifestos of political parties, what we have in Nigeria is a reverse. We have Nigerian politicians who are interested in what they think. They can sleep and wake up and say, this is what I want to happen in Nigeria. And they begin to implement that. And their advisors doesn't help matter. Instead of them to guide them, they always clap for them. That is Nigeria politics for you.
Mr. Ibrahim, you and your party appear to be on the spotlight. They say you have been bribing party leaders. You have been creating crises within the political parties in order to weaken them before the 2027 contest. Now, first and foremost, are I mean, the APC was in the opposition for about 16 years before it came to power. You were quite active as an opposition group at that time, quite active in the opposition. Are you satisfied today with the role that opposition political parties are playing? Because you need both the government and the opposition for society to run smoothly.
Well, thank you very much for the question and the opportunity given to me to explain our situation or position. With regards the relationship between the party in power and the opposition, I will say we are watching closely, and we seem to see a situation that is similar to an overkill. Overkill in the sense that the opposition we expect to do what a position is supposed to do is not performing to expectation. The opposition seem to be sleeping while the party in power is in government. That is not the ambition of democracy. The ambition of democracy in creating opposition or in having opposition is for vibrancy, to checkmate the party in power, to make sure that things are happening in a way and manner that will be extremely beneficial to the electorate. The opposition is expected to keep the party in power on its toes, insisting that the right thing should be done. Even where they are doing the right thing, they should be stampeded into doing more. Unfortunately, the opposition, rather than behaving in a constructive manner, they are behaving in a destructive manner. I'm happy after the allegation made by the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, a statesman, a person who has risen to the position of second in command, will come out and make such wild allegations without substantiation, without proof, without showing signs where that money came from, to whom it was given, where it was given, and why it was given. To make that allegation is unfortunate, but happily, the entire opposition has given the party in power a clean bill of health. Everybody is denying that, and I think it's for the person who made the allegation to visit his conscience and see the kind of havoc or damage he has brought on the system, and it will have an impact, consequence on his own political reputation. As a party, the APC is not losing sleep over what the opposition is doing because we are comfortable. People are beginning to understand the purpose of our coming. They are beginning to appreciate what the party is doing. And believe you me, as time goes on, you will see that even the opposition will have to change its tactics if it wants to remain relevant. The question of taking power, put it aside, is not something that is feasible. It's not something that is foreseeable. It's not something we anticipate. If the trend of things go as they are going, there seems to be no harmony, no unity, no cohesion in the way and manner they do their things until they go back to the drawing board and understand the meaning of opposition and why opposition is encouraged in democracy. The way and manner they are going left when the direction of movement is right.
In 2014, when the APC emerged, it was a coalition, a coalescence of various political groups and various political interests to form the APC. Are you foreseeing a situation like that before the 2027 elections? That these, I mean, there have been talks, at least in the media, about these political leaders coming together, and they have been discussing forming an alliance to oppose the APC in 2027. Do you foresee that happening?
In theory, yes, but in practice, no. You see, coalition or alliances happen when you have like-minded parties or people coming together to confront the party in power or the situation. As things stand now, even if there is a coalition or alliance, it's going to be a coalition or alliance of strange bedfellows. The people in Labour Party, the people in NNPP, the people in PDP, and the people in the other smaller parties, they don't seem to have a common stance, a common understanding of what they are supposed to do, the expectations of the people. They seem to have only one ambition, and that is the ambition of contesting and getting power. Anyone that is not getting the ticket will make sure that he rocks the boat. As long as that concession, that idea is the binding force, as long as that selfish or self-centered reasoning is the driver, I don't see a situation where there can be concrete alliance as to give the APC a fight for its money. No. With the way they are going, probably they will have an alliance in theory. They can talk. But when it comes to teaming up to be in the same bus, believe you me, there will be struggle in who is going to get in first, and there will be struggle in where they are going to sit. There will be struggle in who is even going to drive the bus.
Is the APC doing anything in that direction to make sure that they do not come together, that they remain divided? Because that's the allegation that's been thrown at you, that you are the ones causing the crisis in the various political parties.
Yes, the APC is doing that, but constructively, not destructively. When I say it is doing that to make sure that they remain divided and disorganized, yes, the party is doing that by providing democratic dividends to the people so that they will be on the head books of the people and be in the good books and log books of the APC. Now, we are doing everything to see to either we deliver what we promise. We are doing everything to see to either we give the people what they want, and we are doing everything to see that El Dorado is not far from reach. That way, if we continue to give dividends, the kind of dividends people expect in democracy, people will love, they will move towards the APC, they will continue to vote for the APC and turn their backs on the opposition. And that is exactly what is causing the confusion in the opposition camp now. They are seeing the results of what APC is doing. They are seeing that APC is matching words with action. APC is doing the right thing, including the present complaint of hardship. Yes, there is hardship in the land, but this hardship is temporary. There is the saying that you have to break eggs to make omelette. You cannot just make omelette by massaging the egg. You have to break eggs. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been courageous in coming from day one to announce the removal of subsidy, because subsidy was a scam. It's being used to enrich minority at the detriment of the majority. And now, since the removal of subsidy, fuel has become available, even if more expensive. Fuel is now beginning to be affordable in the sense that the needle is pointing down now. The price is crashing, and it will keep crashing until such a time when it becomes stable and people can afford it. It will be going down. Again, our refineries that have not been functioning for decades are now beginning to function, which means the subsidiary industries that are connected to the refineries will come back to life. That way, we will have chemicals. That way, we will have fertilizer. That way, we will have other things that are derivable from the refineries that will engineer the revival of the economy. And people will begin to realize they will reap from what we have sown, and they will see to it that, yes, APC is a progressive party that means well for the country.
All right, let's bring in Mr. Oladipo once more. Mr. Oladipo, thank you for staying with us. Why is it that it appears that none of the opposition political parties, including yours, appear to have a blueprint as to what the alternative is to the APC government that is there at the moment? Now, I'd like to take you back on some kind of historical excursion. In the Second and Third Republics, the UPM, for instance, under the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, was a very, very active and very opposition figure. And he had an alternative to every government policy, to every policy of the MPN then, and all of that. When budgets are made, they analyzed it and they told the Nigerian public, the Nigerian people, what their alternative would have been. But we don't seem to have that now. Why is that missing from the opposition in this era?
Thank you, sir. Well, I think that the publicity secretary of the APC, he's spoken very well, very fluently, but I don't think he's living in our Nigeria. The APC has been good in bringing about 35% inflation rate. The devaluation of the Naira is still playing at about 1,500 and something, 600 and something to the dollar. There are many things we can talk about. Yes, you break an egg to make an omelette. You understand? But in making the omelets, you have to make sure that the gas is on, that there is heat to heat the frying pan so that you can make the egg, and there's some oil in it. There are things missing, many things missing in what this government is doing. But be that as it may, let us come back to it. The opposition have been telling you, a lot of them have been saying that the government is responsible for this or the APC is responsible for this or that. I don't know about that. What I know, my own example, is what has happened in Kano State, from the tribunal to the Supreme Court. Then you look at the Emirates issue. Everybody knows, even the man sitting there knows that chieftaincy matters are a purview of the
Mr. Oladipo, are you still with us?
I'm still with you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Who or which institution has the authority to use the police and the military to bring a person back into a city and install the person in a guest house? You go to the Nasarawa guest house now. The police security in that place is more than what the governor of Kano has. You see all those things happening. Now, it might not be the APC as a party, I have to admit. It might not be the APC as a party. But if your national chairman is involved in certain things or doing certain things, or is seen to be doing certain things, it behoves on the party to say, no, this is not part of democracy. Let things go properly. But you see, that is part of why the NNPP would say that from our own experience as a party, as we see in Kano, it seems that you are putting your hands in things that affect us. Now, I like the way the publicity secretary said, yes, we're doing it, but constructively. There's nothing wrong with their trying to poach people and trying to say, come to this party, this is better. But there are things there that go against, if we're talking, if politics has its morality or whatever, there are things there that go too far. So that is it. We have tried in our own way. The PDP ought to lead because it's a bigger political party. We have tried in our own way at different stages to constructively suggest other things, not even criticize the APC government, to constructively suggest other things for the government. But I will just say that you have to recall how long it took the APC to come together, or when they came together. It was short and it was towards the end, and it worked. So when my senior brother there says that it is not taking over government is not a possibility, talk is cheap. The people are suffering and they are not seeing what my brother says they are seeing. It's going southwards. It's not going northwards. It's going southwards. And so I tell you that the atmosphere and the situation on ground is right for the opposition to get their acts together and lead the people of Nigeria to freedom.
All right, Mr. Oladipo, I'm very sure that the NNPP is not just a Kano party; it's a national party, and which also aspires to rule Nigeria at the next opportunity when it is.
Just use Kano as an example.
When it is presented, right now. So I'm just wondering, why is it that the NNPP does not appear to be too interested in what I will describe as policies and programs that are more general, that are more national, more nationwide, and putting forward alternative views and alternative positions on these national issues when they are presented when they are presented by the APC?
On the contrary, sir, we have always done that. If we think what they're doing is good, we support it. You understand? When we spoke about inflation, we spoke about the tax bills before the National Assembly, you will recall that it was Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso's statement that actually turned it into a burning national issue. And we said, look, we didn't condemn it in its totality. So give us time. Let's look at the thing properly. And I'm sure time has been given. People are looking at it. The National Assembly has had time to look at it properly. Some of the governors sat together to look at it. So we are talking, but we try to talk constructively and not to, you see, there's a time for campaigning. There's a time for governance. This is a time for governance. So whilst we come out once in a while to say, no, we disagree with this, no, we disagree with this, or yes, it's going well, we reserve, the government is coming to midterm, as you know, sir.
Please go ahead.
Right time now to come out and tackle the issues of insecurity, inflation, the economy, the value of the naira, etc. But I have done, for me, sir, if you see my interviews, I always say a year is not enough. Let's give them time. Let's give, in fact, some people feel we're supporting the APC. But I say by midterm, then I would be happy to sit at the table with anyone and say, this student, our president and his party are taking us in the wrong direction. Or so far, so good, could have been done better. I want this country to be better. So we want to be constructive in all that we do. That's what we do in the NMP.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that, Mr. Oladipo. But the former vice president has said that some of you, some of the political parties are silent because you are receiving gratifications from the APC-led government. Is the NNPP receiving any form of gratifications or inducements from the APC-led government?
Well, I think that it is, I'm sure the Waziri Adamawa would not have been referring to the NNPP in any way. But what I will say is that we have people that were expelled, suspended and expelled from the NNPP. They are behaving in ways that they are throwing stones from the outside, trying to mislead the Nigerian public about the state of the party, the logo of the party, etc., etc. Now, these people at every stage have supported, doing press conferences to support the position of the APC whenever the position is counter to what we hold as a party. So it is easy or easier for me to believe that, oh, those expelled members might be the people Waziri Adamawa is talking about. You understand? But basically, the NNPP is an opposition party. We have not dined with the APC. We have no intention to sit and dine with them. We are doing what we can. The people of Nigeria gave us Kanu to administer. We are doing that. And we're hoping that we will grow the base of our party and do better at the next elections.
All right. Thank you. Stay with us, Mr. Oladipo. Let me get back to Mr. Anotu in the studio. Mr. Oladipo is talking about stone throwing. Is it that the opposition politicians are throwing stones for the sake of stone throwing? Or are they throwing stones because they think that there are fruits to be plucked?
Well, I think there is a comparison that we make generalized sometimes that I'm not too comfortable with. Like the gathering in where they made this statement. Yes. How many national chairmen of political parties were there? How many national chairmen of political parties were given an opportunity to speak? So I think this were just gathering of politicians, career politicians that have always wanted to take over power. For example, in the Labour Party, 2023, we never had any coalition to challenge this government. And we came out victorious, even though the result is otherwise. There were no coalition. But our candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, came out strongly with clear vision of what he's coming to do as a president of Nigeria. And they rhymed with the manifesto of Labour Party. And Labour Party went for campaign across the country, asking people to support the party to change this country, to change the narrative. And people came out en masse and voted. So for me, I'm not comfortable with this throwing stone by opposition political leaders. Opposition political parties constructively always engage the government. They are not into stone throwing. But opposition political gladiators, people that are out of favor. El-Rufai is out of favor with APC. He's part of those that brought change. Even Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was part of APC. But just like somebody, the guy from, my brother from NNPP said, whenever he didn't favor them, they will always look for people that they can align with to be able to pursue their own selfish personal interests. I can assure you that the moves is also for Atiku Abubakar to emerge as presidential candidate in 2027. If not for that, they should come into the party. Stay with the party, look at the challenges of the party and build the party. And whoever that emerges presidential candidate in 2027 should be supported. Not always thinking that they are the one that will be presidential candidate. And that is why they are throwing the stones they are throwing. So most times, it's not the political parties that are throwing these stones. It is these political gladiators that are throwing stones. And like Amaechi said, what Amaechi said to some extent is very correct. They hold this power as if it's their destiny, as if it's their kidney. And they're not willing to give it away. And that is why somebody will continue to contest for presidency. He has not mentored anybody that he will strongly believe in. All the young boys around him are not worthy to be sponsored to become president, are not worthy to be sponsored to become governor. It is only Atiku Abubakar that wants to be president every 4 years. That is why somebody will openly tell us he's working for APC and he's controlling PDP. And he's openly telling us that he bought the ticket for governorship, House of Reps, House of Assembly, councillors, local government chairmen, and we are watching as Nigerians in this same polity. Somebody will be in APC and he's working for PDP, and we are looking at him, we are throwing stone on people that don't even know what APC is doing. So they know the people that are working for the government, they know them, not the Labour Party. As far as I know, the Labour Party is interested in providing a good opposition to this government, and we have been doing it. And our manifesto says opposite to what they are doing, because what they are doing is not government of the people. It's not government by the people. It's government by cartel, for cartel. It is only in this government that you want to give Nigerian youth 25,000 naira. And you are consulting the consultant that will do it. You are giving the consultant 3 billion to do consultancy to give 25,000 naira to Nigerian citizens. It is only in this government that a minister of power will come and say that we want to use 8 billion to tell people to pay their electricity bill. Uncle Imoni, do you need anybody to tell you to buy your NEPA recharge card every week or every month as you buy? I buy every 3 weeks, and nobody reminds me to do that. So, but it's only in this government. The previous administration has gone. My brother here said that it takes some time to crack the egg. If it takes 8 years, 10 years now to be cracking egg, I don't know how many years it will now take to fry the omelette.
Now, very closely related to that is what you just pointed out. The fact that you have individuals within the political parties who appear to be bigger and stronger than the institution of the political party. Is it the way we have created and made the political parties, or is it that every other person within the political institution, within the political party, is so weak as not to be able to insist that the party's constitution and its guiding principles should be the ones that would dictate what the political parties do? I ask that because even in your party, the APC, the Labour Party. I mean, the Labour Party, it is what the presidential candidate of the party says that appears to be the law, to be the norm. As of today, you will still have a situation where you have, you set up a national, is it a critical committee or you call it, that happened in Abia State the other time, and you still have a sitting national executive of the party. Which one is superior to the other? Who is who?
Thank you, Uncle Imoni. In fact, you are a doctor. I have diagnosed the situation. We are in a country where individuals feel they are larger than institution. And that is the failure of Nigerian democracy. As long as we accord respect to individuals than institutions, we continue to crawl as a nation. The moment we deviate, we stop giving attention to politicians and begin to grow, strengthen our political institutions, that is the beginning of progress in Nigerian political system. Thank you for what you've just said. For example, in the Labour Party, that is the only fight that we have in the Labour Party. The Labour Party have a constitution. Of course, the court knows that no court in Nigeria can look into leadership situation of any political party. They are democracy on their own. And the Labour Party constitution is clear on who calls a meeting. Whichever meeting, be it NEC meeting or NWC meeting or national convention, the constitution is very clear on who should summon such a meeting. Is he not going overboard for a governor to assume that he is the leader as elected to govern the people of a state? He will now assume that he is the leader of the party because this party gave you their flag to fly. And their flag were accepted by Nigerians. And you now feel that the people that gave you that flag should now be under you. They can no longer control you. That is why people fly from political party to another, because they lack respect for the political institutions we have in Nigeria. The moment they become the governor, they become the president, they are now the one that decides who will be the national chairman of the party. In fact, in some instance, a politician said that he does not have sufficient control of the political party. Uncle Imoni is wrong. You don't need to have sufficient control. All you need to do is to be doing like what my presidential candidate is doing. He's going around, doing some projects, visiting people, doing things across the country. You know, during the time of nomination, political parties will look at him and say, this man has been close to the people, and we can nominate him. And the moment you nominate him, he's under the party. Even when he wins that election, he's under the party. I can't imagine the APC national chairman coming out to say Tinubu is wrong in one particular area. Because Tinubu is not perfect, he's also a human being. He can be wrong. But you can never see the APC national chairman accepting he's wrong. Why? Because if he says it tonight, the next morning, he's going as the national chairman. So he would rather keep quiet and watch his president do things that are not in line with the party manifesto, do things that are not in line with the party objectives. So that is what is happening in the Labour Party. The Labour Party have refused to give out the party to politicians. The Labour Party have refused to hand over the party like PDP did. Whether anybody believes or not, PDP have handed over the party to Wike. And that is why they're having issue with their leadership. And Wike is boldly saying, nobody can suspend me. Labour Party can suspend anybody now, and nothing will happen. That is Labour Party.
But you didn't. The Labour Party did not suspend the governor who convened that meeting in Umuahia, at which your presidential candidate was also present, and set up a body that rivals the national executive of the party. If you can remember, that act in Umuahia attracted some consequences. In our convention in Newi in 2024, 27th March 2024, we made it clear that presidential candidates, that even though it's undemocratic, that we have left it for His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. After that, Umuahia and Ale Soti, automatic ticket for 2027. After that parade in Umuahia, the party came out and withdrew that privilege and said that it's open. The governorship in Abia is open. The presidential nomination is open to Nigerians. So it's a consequence. It shows you that the party has checks and balances. And that will also tell you that the party does not respect any individual. The party supremacy has come to stay in Labour Party, and it will stay. And if we must succeed as a democracy, we must look into strengthening political parties, making sure that political parties' manifesto is what is being run. Look at in the UK. The Labour Party, you may not hear about the chairman of the Labour Party in the UK, but virtually all the policies that the government is running is being generated from the party. So the Labour Party in Nigeria is standing firm. Like you mentioned, the caretaker committee is died a natural death because there is no way the court or whoever will come and decide for Labour Party. The Labour Party NEC have decided and had a convention and produced their NWC members.
no matter how small they are, no matter how inexperienced some of us are, you must be able to humble yourself to follow the leadership of the party as it stands today.
All right, Mr. Ibrahim, a lot of stones and pebbles have been thrown at you and your party here today and all of that. Moving forward, what do you think the political parties and politicians need to do for us to have a stable polity ahead of the 2027 elections?
Well, thank you very much. I think one important thing they need to do is to learn. They must get their pen, paper, actually books, and get ready to learn. And the APC as the ruling party has provided a platform. An avenue has been created under the leadership of Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. He has opened the Progressive Institute. This institute is supposed to mold opinion, prepare the minds of politicians, and see to it that politics is played by the books. The game is done according to the provisions of the law. If the opposition camp is ready to learn how to play politics without destructive rancor, then the road to peaceful 2027 is signposted. But if they continue this game of borrowing foreign medication to treat domestic ailment, that problem will continue to remain there. The Labour Party, like my brother is saying, is making comparison with the Labour Party in Nigeria and the Labour Party in the United Kingdom. There are two different parties that were set under different circumstances, and the operators are completely different. The situation in Nigeria is far, 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 far different from the situation in the UK. We are operating a presidential system of government, which was borrowed from the United States. But even in the US, they have rancorous campaigns and elections. But they have a way of settling the problem without taking their dirty linen to Wuse market. They will address it. If the opposition is ready to learn, and I'm saying this thing without any arrogance, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, the national chairman of the APC, is one leader that has listening ears, is one leader that has foresight, and is one leader that is not confrontational. The issue of power and position, you see, is not meant for confrontation. To be an active and vibrant or a leader of the party in control does not necessarily mean you have to be in confrontation with the president. No, 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 no. You see, that is theoretical. People think, and those who have this thinking, I agree, maybe because of their demographic disposition, sometimes exuberance drives them in that direction, that you have to be very, very confrontational, radicalistic before you are seen to be championing a good cause. No, you can lead by example, through maturity, through actions that would ginger and endear the party to the people. And that is exactly what the APC is doing. We will not. If you look at the turnover of chairmen in the 16 years of PDP misrule and compare it with the turnover of chairmen in the 10 years of APC, you will see a big margin. The APC is not interested in changing leaders every day. No, the APC is not interested in getting leaders who will be at war with the president. No, the APC is not interested in having leaders whose ambition is always to create problem and shout and fight. No, it's working peacefully, quietly, silently, in a way and manner that people will see result. And that is exactly what Abdullahi Umar Ganduje is doing. And that is what the opposition needs to learn.
All right, thank you so much. Well, let's leave it at that. Our time is up. We must go. Mr. Johnson Oladipo, thank you for your time. Unfortunately, we are unable to get back to you. But just in 30 seconds, one final word.
Well, thank you very much. It's been good being on the show. There are things that we all ought to learn. That is true. But I'm not sure that Dr. Ganduje is the person we should be learning from. I'd rather learn from the gentleman speaking.
All right.
I don't want to refer to the video and the Agbada and what happened, the Babariga. So please don't let us go there. But
all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Oladipo.
Well. We wish them well.
Thank you so much.
Ruling us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson Oladipo is National Publicity Secretary of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. He joined us virtually from Lagos. And here in the studio, we had Mr. Kennedy Ayanotu, National Youth Leader and former Deputy National Secretary of the Labour Party. Thank you so much. And Mr. Bala Ibrahim. Mr. Bala Ibrahim is the Director of Publicity of the All Progressives Congress, the party in power in Nigeria at the moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's our program for today. Please join us again when we bring you a fresh edition of the program People, Politics, and Power. Thank you for staying with us. Bye.